Hey, welcome to the Layman Terms Podcast. I am here with Brandon McCertie, correct? Mm-hmm. And you are a member of Sharper Process, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Sharper Consulting.
Sharper Business Consultants. Yeah. And you were the first one I met.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Been a minute. But
22 months ago.
That's right.
22 months ago. Kind of a little different company now.
Yeah. We were talking about that right before we came on air. It's just the migration, the evolution of your business from a company culture standpoint, from a
we didn't have a good culture.
Core value standpoint, from an operational standpoint. It's just it's a much more sophisticated and purposeful business than it was 22 months ago, for sure.
And I thank you for it.
Yeah.
Because do you remember when you showed? I did not know what a process map was that day.
Yeah.
And then you said, hey, this is what it is. And I'm like, do you want me to do that? If so, take my fingernails. But that is so important, a process map.
Yeah. Because
when we hire, we give them a map to do their job.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Walk us through, that's a different, first of all, your culture and your company is completely different. Mm-hmm. And I love your company, but you guys do everything differently.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, philosophically, when we talk about a process map, it's the difference between having somebody who does custom furniture. If you've ever gone to somebody who's a woodworker and mm-hmm. they can go and build a dresser from scratch, give them a chunk of wood and they'll put the dresser together. And that's most business owners are masters at their art, at their craft. The problem is when we want to go and now we want to scale it up, we have to take a step back and say, what would IKEA do? IKEA has to give you instructions.
Yep.
There's your process map. They're going to give you a video, which is their procedure, mm-hmm. how you put this together. And then they're going to have a policy, which means you should be able to put this dresser together in about an hour.
Okay.
So when we think about scale of business, if I'm working with somebody and they have no interest in scale and they have no interest in efficiencies, then I tell them, just keep making custom dressers. Right. Don't worry about it. If we have aspirations of bringing people in and getting them to do things, I have to be able to make it to where a 10-year-old could put that dresser together in an hour. Mm-hmm. And if I can't do that, then it's too complicated, and therefore I can't scale it.
Right. And that's what we're in the process of.
That's right.
And so, but you guys have made that simple. I know the hardest thing for me to do was to get out of the way. Mm. Put the right people in and get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a concept we use all the time, which is if you go to a business owner and you say, just let go, it's the dumbest thing you can say to them. That's a bad idea. If I'm owning a business, I started off in the marketing. I opened a marketing agency 20 years ago. If you'd have came to me a year into that business and said, Brandon, just let go, let somebody else run it, I'd say, great. They're going to run it into a wall. They're going to destroy my business, mm-hmm. and my family's livelihood is tied to that business.
Right.
I don't trust you to do that. What we say is you let go without losing control. Mm-hmm. And the only way for me to give you control as the owner of a business is to say, here is the process that's in your head right now, but on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And here is how somebody who's highly skilled and highly talented is going to execute a process that you know makes money. And as long as I give you the end result, are you good with them following this process? But most business owners, you look at them and say, well, just let go, man. Just let it happen. It's all going to be okay. And that's just a delusional statement. It's completely subjective. Objectively now, we can take a piece of paper and show you if they do this right, you will make X amount of dollars.
But it's for me, I know my role, which is vision, direction, and revenue. Mm-hmm. If you keep me there, I create havoc.
Yeah.
Okay. But good havoc.
Yes.
My team says we need this, and I go and get another company. Mm-hmm. Oh, you want this? Great, I'll go find one for you.
100%.
I'm good at that. But if you put me down into a seat again.
That's right.
And whatever you want to call it, chopping trees, I'm okay for a little bit, but then I get bored.
Yeah. Yeah, we just did, before this podcast, we were doing your process ownership chart, and you made the comment that when we started this process, you were in 36 seats.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I make the comment every time I do an implementation, I probably made it to you on that first day. I say, if I said to you, I can get you out of all of these seats, and you're only in the one, which is where you're at now, mm-hmm. in this one seat, do you have any question in your mind that we would make more money as a business? And to the one, I've never had a business owner say to me, but yes, we would 100% make a lot more money if I could just focus on leading and growing and revenue and those types of things.
Yeah.
And it comes back to that principle, which is, great, now how do we make that happen? Mm-hmm. And it's process, procedures, policies, get everybody in the right seats, and allow you to do what you're great at.
But every seat has a paycheck.
Yeah.
And we implement that really well. So when I go down, I expect to be paid.
Yes. 100%.
But
That's
my
the mistake.
hourly has changed, by the way.
That's right. Well, and I mean, it's a good point, which is that seat should pay a certain amount of dollars an hour.
Right.
And if we have a $100 an hour employee doing a $12 an hour task, that's bad for the business.
Right.
And so it's identifying it not just as, well, I have to do everything because they're going to get it wrong, or I have to do everything or otherwise we're not going to make money. Fine, but how long do you want to be doing $12 an hour tasks for?
Mm-hmm.
And at the day you don't want to be doing those anymore, to the point, business owners of course, you're going to be the best at every role in the business. You better be, because it's your business. But at some point, it becomes very inefficient to keep having you do tasks that somebody else needs to be doing.
But that's so hard for business owners, for founders to get out of their own
100%.
way. Okay, I just felt that, Gary was always nudging me, dude. You just gotta And so finally, I use the analogy. I'm just running around singing Frozen. Let it go, let it go. But when you put the right people there, you give them the resources needed, and then you step back and let the magic happen.
Yeah.
But then, you guys at Sharper, you created my guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hey, we're just not letting them go free willy out there. Here's your system. This is a process. This is where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
Now go.
Yeah.
But we're also a very purpose-driven company. I use the term, we don't have mercenaries working here.
Mm-hmm.
We weed them out quickly because they don't fit for us.
Right.
We can make money, don't get me wrong. But if that's what you're here to do in the beginning, I'm going to weed you out quick. Because we're here to serve.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's, if we serve our clients, our customers, everything else works out.
Yeah.
When we look at it as we're going to make X amount of dollars, it's not so fulfilling.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning in real estate, I think everyone goes for that. But at this point, I'm not chasing a goal of a number.
Right.
I really want to see what I'm capable of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, somebody made this statement a long time ago, and it's exactly how you've kind of built your business, which is money is an exchange for value. And when I bring value to somebody, then money is the natural exchange that takes place for that. And I think that's a much better framing than when we sit and say, okay, we got to do this certain thing, and we got to squeeze somebody for the extra dollar here, and we got to do this there. If you provide enough value, the money is just a natural byproduct of that value being created. That's tough to say to somebody who's starving to death. And I think that's really where our job a lot of times is to come in and give somebody a path to, let's rather than surviving, let's get you on sound footing where we can run this thing systematically so that you can get out of your own way and you can provide the most value to your customer. We're seeing this right now with all the AI stuff. Oh, we're going to pick up so many efficiencies, and we're going to pick up this. They did a study on it. They found how much time people are wasting right now in inefficiencies. It's trillions of dollars, just employee inefficiencies. And all of the efficiency we're going to pick up from AI doesn't make up for the inefficiency of the employee. So when you start seeing companies where we not only have efficient employees, but we also have efficiencies of technology and AI, what it's going to allow for is what it should allow for is a customer experience that blows everybody else away. The problem is if you're only monetizing, you're not thinking about what's best for that customer.
Right.
What do they need? How do we serve them better? How do we spend more time with the soft skill things that are actually going to help them? Then you just become either miserly and a hoarder of money versus somebody who's serving the customer. And at some point, the chickens come home to roost.
Yeah.
And customers are disappointed, and you can't monetize.
No, because you have a client, they're buying a house. This is their home. And the American dream is gone in a lot of ways because it's got squeezed the money.
Right.
In Florida, the median home price is $419. We serve this 200 to 300 demographic, and we serve it really well. We are constantly trying to bring down our costs to keep our prices in here. We acquire businesses to help us do this.
Yeah.
It's not that we're greedy. It's like, no, but if we control this, we control a process, a timeline, they're accountable, and the money's internally spent. We keep our prices here.
Yeah. It's reverse engineering. It's like looking at the customer and saying, what do we wish we could do for them? And then working our way back from there into what products and services do we need to have so that they end up at the end state that we know they should end up at. I mean, we know this economically right now. There's a huge economic shift taking place between generations.
Oh, yeah.
The largest transfer of wealth in human history is going to take place over the next few years. Home prices are out
More
of
than
control.
08, 09 with all that stuff going on?
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's
a
different.
more natural transfer of
natural.
wealth from the
'Cause
baby
that was-
boomers.
yeah,
That was
okay.
a whole nother problem. But I mean, when you start seeing where the percentage of people's income that they spend on housing right now versus what their grandparents spent on housing in their time,
it's crazy.
that big change, and people value experiences and people value mobility and they value different things than they did before, that a business where you're at is going to sit in such an important place to get people as they reclassify what the American dream even looks like.
Right.
You have to have those solutions where the $400,000 and $500,000 house doesn't really jive with what people are looking for out of life anymore. It's not even just an affordability around people who can't afford a certain place to live. It's just there's a whole change across the entire macroeconomic trends of what people even want out of life anymore. And it's not just that you're providing somebody a house in a situation where they might otherwise not get one. You're giving people the life that they want to be living.
Right.
That's such a valuable thing. It's incredible.
You know, our bread and butter is probably like half acre to an acre. Because, in fact, I'm going to walk a property next week with these people because their home is being delivered. They're going to see where it's being set. We're going to be there for it together. She wants to raise chickens. They have 1.2 acres. He wants to tinker with his race cars and shoot a couple guns.
There you go.
This is the perfect town he's in for it.
Yeah.
Okay? And we walked the lot the first day. And they needed to have all their questions answered. So my sales manager couldn't make it. She had an accident. So I went and I answered it all for them. I said, we're going to put it right where you want it. But it can't be there because that's your septic tank.
Anywhere but there.
And I showed him, like, we found bobcat prints on the property. He's like, what are those? I'm like, that's a bobcat. He's like, a real one? I'm like, yep. He's like, oh, cool. Don't shoot them. But they're going to come for your chickens one day too, right?
Yeah.
But that's our client.
Yeah.
And there's going to come a time where I can't do that anymore. I know it. It's going to bother me. And I hope whoever sits there for me understands who they're serving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just, we mentioned before we came on air, I was just reading a book by a guy who's built this much larger entity now. And as he's built it, his principle he uses a lot, which is so powerful, which is doing the unscalable as long as you possibly can. You can't go walk every property with every seller. It probably wasn't, if we ran an ROI on it, it probably wasn't possible to do it the day you did it. However, you do the unscalable as long as you can for that customer experience.
Yeah.
They talked about the fact up until they got to 1 million followers, they would handwrite a letter to every single person who bought a ticket for the first 1 million tickets they sold.
Wow.
They would write them a letter and they would call them on the phone and thank them for their purchase. He's like, that's completely, we shouldn't have been doing it. It wasn't a positive ROI, but it was important to us that
Right.
customer experience took place. And just looking at those things where they make such an impact on somebody. Like, they'll talk about that till the day they die.
Well,
that they walked the property with the guy who helped them build their house there.
I think this is going to be a positive ROI because not only did they buy, their sister is buying, and now a friend is buying from us.
Sure.
Because of the experience.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, the challenge is, I mean, we talk about this in branding a lot. The challenge is the scalability, right? So we go through phases of branding. Where you're at right now is that one-to-one phase. It'll go to the one to multiply. Your team needs to become a physical manifestation of you and the experience you gave that person.
Right.
And then it becomes where the customers become a manifestation of what your company stands for.
Nice.
For example, like we had Chick-fil-A for lunch. I'm like an ambassador for Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Right? The Chick-fil-A doesn't need Truett Cathy, who passed away, to stand there and sell chicken one-to-one. They don't even need their team to stand there and sell chicken. I will sell the chicken for them, and I'm a customer. I have Chick-fil-A apparel, right? That's the end state of growing this thing up, which is we turn customers into salespeople. You just won. It's over.
Well, because they identify with your business.
That's right.
And they understand what your brand and your motive is. You know, we are all about service.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can tell you that my parents bought their first home in 81, 17% interest rates. You know what? I was 10 years old. You know what I remember? How hard life was. That's what I remember as a 10-year-old. Is that crazy?
It's crazy.
Not that we moved, so we lived in New York City, and this is a real story. A Dominican drug gang called the Jerry Curls shot up a building down the street from us, and everybody moved because they were on the wrong street, but they still came in with 2 carloads, shot the building up, and everybody left. You either went to Long Island or New Jersey. We went to New Jersey. But as a 10-year-old, fleeing that kind of, dumpster fire, I remembered how hard life was. And when I pivoted into this business from flipping and building in 22, and the interest rates, I'm like, this is going to be a hard time for people. Yeah. And so we need to do as much as possible to give access to the American dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was listening to a study recently, and they were breaking this down and just on the trends of things right now. And you're running into kids who went through college, graduated, carrying incredible amounts of student debt, and now they're hitting the age where they have children. They need 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. However, they're in an apartment. They can't afford yet. They're not in a position. The average person, first-time home buyer, is 39 now.
Yeah.
When you think about that, I mean,
I bought at 26.
I mean, I had 2 kids and a wife and a family at 30. I mean, we were pretty far down the road at 39.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the idea that you would not be in a position to move into a property big enough for your family is just, that's a problem.
Yes.
And the idea that, this, I mean, all your large home builders now are transitioning into build to rent. The D.R. Hortons of the world are building build to rent communities
Wall Street
now.
is buying it up.
They can't, because folks can't afford that first house.
Yeah.
And when you create an opportunity for somebody to purchase their first home by changing the terms of what that is today and making it much more affordable and much more reasonable, and it fits much more in line with what our grandparents bought when they came back from what my grandfather got when he came home from World War II. It's very similar property type and the thing that they're getting at that point. I just think there's such an opportunity to say to the 29 to 35 years. I mean, people are delaying marriage. People are delaying a lot of things because it's just not economically possible. And I think you're creating a much better opportunity for most people.
I saw a study. I was watching the news the other day, and I don't watch a lot of news, but it was that post-college age. Their number one priority was job, career satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm telling you that's wrong.
Yeah.
From somebody who was in that position, right? Because that's just chasing this dollar sign. Yeah. I chased it well.
Yeah.
But I was never happy.
Well, I mean, statistically, they'll tell you that the average millennial will have 12 micro careers. My dad worked at the same place for 35 years. Didn't change jobs. It was 35 years.
He didn't want to.
At the same job. It's that's not what you did.
Right.
You went and worked at the mills, or you went and worked on the railroad, or
but
you did something.
But you also lived where you lived forever.
Right. And to the point, though, to a younger person, if you could explain to them coming out, I know you think career and those things are the most critical thing, but the world is going to change so many. I've changed careers multiple times. I've had to pivot and move and change and do different things.
In real estate twice now.
Of course. And so to say to them, yes, and get yourself stable, find a place to live, put your roots down, build your family, do those types of things.
Know who you are.
100% is far more valuable than saying, well, I'm going to be in this field for the next 25, 30 years. The reality of it is that field may not even exist in 25, 30 years. So
I have a bachelor's and a master's, and I've never used it. I got pushed into pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah.
Well, case closed.
I mean, I go teach at Illinois State University every semester. And so I go to the campus and I teach in the marketing department. And I'm at the State Farm School of Business on the campus of Illinois State University with the teacher there who's an incredible professor with a doctorate in marketing and 25 years of teaching. And I get the same question every time. So they do a Q&A at the end, and some kid will raise his hand every time and say, "What's your degree in?" And I have to constantly tell them, I don't have a degree in marketing. My degree is in pastoral theology, and it's a tough thing for them because they're trying to put it together okay, I've got this marketing degree, which they should have. It's a very valuable degree in 2025 to be in marketing. But that doesn't mean you're going to be in marketing. It just means that you know how to create and solve critical problems.
Maybe. maybe, right? Because a lot of people with degrees, you got to go use it.
Sure.
And we see a lot of loss. Like, one thing I'm good at is executing.
Yeah.
Right? And if I execute left and it doesn't work, guess what? I'm going to go right. But I know. And people just wait and wait and wait on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And that's such a huge problem.
Yeah.
Like those kids today who are getting the degrees, I'm all for having a degree.
Yeah.
Like my son was like, yeah, but you never use it. Okay, so what? My mom had my degrees on her wall.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you can have them. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Because I was one of the original Viagra salesmen. End of story, right? Think about that.
Yeah.
New York City, Viagra, there's no internet. I got you. Okay? And the rest is history. I never worked in my field that I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to complain either.
Yeah.
But I have the degree.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept I was reading about earlier, which is belief always comes before ability. And for young people to look and say, like, you're just going to have to go do it. And you're going to fail so many times.
Yeah.
And you just have to put the reps in. And that is the thing where whatever it is, if you say, this is my degree and I'm going to go be in it, or I'm not going to get a degree, but I'm going to focus in this area, or you say, this is my degree and I'm going to go do something completely different, you just have to do. And
Just
you
be
have
committed
to go
to it.
make it happen.
Just be committed.
Yeah.
Everything else works out.
That's it.
I was just out in Arizona. I was on with Steve Trang.
Yeah.
He said, what would I consider a superpower of mine today? You know what it is? Asking for help. I'm really good at that now. My first year in this business, I found, renovated, and flipped 3 homes and made $4,000. But I would not say how bad things were. My wife did not know the financials until she came to work in the business. She's like, oh my God. I said, I know, right? But I retired her after year 2.
Yeah.
Because I became good at asking for help. Like we're, as men, I'm not lost. Right? That's how it is.
Yeah.
But I'm an expert at asking for help. And we need to learn that.
Yeah.
Okay? That's because why would you stop? Like, it's like, hey, you're going to waste time. Time is your most valuable resource. I'm like, who do I know who has this answer? I know somebody.
Yeah.
And if I don't know the somebody I know knows the somebody.
That's right. That's right.
But I think as men, we're very afraid of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I think it's a very challenging thing to get through your head, that it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's the ultimate sign of strength. It's the ability to look at somebody else and say, like, I need something, and I think you're the one that can get it for me. It's such a mental block.
Right.
We just get stuck in this idea that it means that I'm lesser than if I have to ask somebody else for something. And again, I think there's some generational stuff there. I think it was a generation of people who just didn't want to ask for help and wanted to soldier on through those things. And it's definitely a strength.
There's a strength in soldiering on when you have to.
Yeah.
There's times when you have to do it.
Yeah.
But most of the times you don't have to do it alone.
It's true.
And people, I call it the struggle bus. People love being on that bus by themselves.
Well, there's a bit of a martyr complex to it. I'm suffering through this, and I'm it's a little bit of I like the idea that I'm suffering and somebody else is seeing me suffer.
But like I coach people, and it's like, hey, why don't you just go to local meetups, join groups in what we do, because when you plug in to your community, you'll see you're not alone.
Right. Right.
This is what's going on, and when it comes for asking for help, you notice my team is mostly women, right? So much more collaborative. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I find that even when one is having the worst week, she will be up for the others. With men, not so much.
Yeah.
If it's not their parade, they don't want to care.
Yeah.
And I weed them out quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not, if you use basketball, I'm not on the court. I'm not on the bench. I'm not the coach. I'm up in the box, maybe.
Right.
Right? They're winning the games for me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm putting some things in place for them.
Sure.
But to rob them of victories, that's what you do when you take the struggle away from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And I can see that. I'm like, oh, I do that with my children. I let them struggle.
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many analogies of it. I mean, like it's weightlifting. Like if you don't put more pressure on it, it's not going to happen.
Well, hold on. You're pastoral science, right? We pray for strength. God gives us hard times.
That's right.
Because what are we going to have? Now we're stronger for the next set of hard times.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the analogy.
Well, it's funny because a lot of times you'll talk to younger people and they'll be like, I'm ready for this, and I'm ready to do this, and I'm ready to go do this thing. And it's hard to help them understand. It's like, on a skill level, maybe. Like knowing the information to do the task, maybe you do. But somebody said this a long time ago. It's like all intelligence, when you say somebody has a lot of intelligence, all it means is they have pattern recognition. I mean, I'll do 200 consults this year. I can almost just watch by the way somebody blinks. And I can't tell you how I know that this is the problem. But there's just a pattern recognition there. And a lot of times just having the information, you misses the pattern recognition. And the only way to pick that up is by going through circumstances where you weren't able to get it, and you got it wrong, and you missed, and you got kicked in the teeth, and you realize, I'm never getting kicked in the teeth again. I'm going to pick up the pattern, or I'm going to go get the information I need so that doesn't happen again. And that's the part a lot of times where it's, you have the skills. I got it. You took the class. You know the information. You've got all that.
Where are the reps?
But the nuance is where it's all at. It's in being able to look and say, I know how to solve this problem. I know what the actual issue is. I mean, we talked about it a little bit beforehand. You know, my business partner, Gary. I mean, Gary can look at something and just on the fly tell you what the problem is, how you're going to solve it, what's going to happen next, where you're going to go from there. I can look at somebody's marketing and in 5 seconds say, here's what's going to go wrong. And I can't tell you what I'm doing. It happens.
It's the matrix because you're so plugged into this part of what you do, you understand.
But it would be the same if I walked into a job site and, you know, we met with Bernie on your team earlier. Bernie can walk at a job site and say, yeah, we're going to be 2 weeks behind. You know, I can't do that.
Well, he did.
I have no pattern recognition for that.
He was going out to a job the other day, and I'm like, no, you take the guys with you and you show them.
That's right.
Let them see what you're looking.
They have to get the reps
because they need to see with your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, because they need to be able to do this one day on their own.
Yeah.
And you know, we're trying to do that so much as just teach. Yeah. Because everything is teaching. You can't beat it into them. I tried. It doesn't work. Man. It just right.
Yeah. It's just that's true. That's a tough one to swallow a lot of times. Which is the analogy I always use is if you're trying to manage people, a lot of times we want to go in and break the bone. And just snap it off and figure it out. And it's the tough thing is coming in and stretching muscles without breaking bones, is getting them to grow in a role and get them to see it the way they want. I mean, my favorite thing right now is I was reading a book recently that talks about this is we don't ask why questions. Really? As soon as I ask somebody a why question, it requires that they justify it. Okay. If I say to you, Tom, why'd you do that? And immediately you're going to start justifying your behavior to me. I ask what questions. Okay. Like what would, I said it to your team just before we came in here. What would need to be true for us to be able to get those 6 deals at the end of the quarter, right? Instead of why can't we get 6 deals? The one's going to require me for them to justify their behavior. The other's going to require that they actually explore the idea and the concept. And a lot of times with people, we bring them in, we know what we want them to do, and we force it on them. Right. Let's say, why aren't you getting this done? Why isn't this happening? If we would step it back and say, what would we need to do to make this happen? All of a sudden it's, Tom, I don't even know. I have no idea. And it allows us to interject with, here's the facts and here's the reality. Here's my knowledge. Here's my information. And I can fill in the gaps between what you know and what you don't know with right information. Yeah. But you're the right people for it. Yes. And I think that, people need to understand that, look, I coach people, but I'm coached. Yeah. But most professionals are. Oh, for sure. I mean, the list of our clients right now of people who have some type of an education program or some kind of consultancy or some type of whatever. I worked a couple of weeks ago. I worked with Thatch Wynn. I was out at Thatch's office. And, Thatch made the same point. Went on Instagram right there. And he guys, I'm here with my coach getting coached. Yeah. I work with, the list is pretty funny of people where it's the ones that recognize and acknowledge the fact that if I want to get to where I'm going to go, it's going to require a level of accountability, a level of understanding, a level of somebody being able to speak in and say, this is right and this is wrong. And the ones that don't go as far, usually you can tie it back to where was the mentorship, where was the accountability, where was somebody holding you to it, and it's usually not there.
I found it that the people who were with me in the beginning, who I didn't have the accountability with, when I implemented it, they always bucked it.
Yeah.
That's why they're gone.
Yeah.
One, they were culture killers because they weren't going to be accountable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to hold everybody's feet to the fire. This is what we're agreed to do. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, you guys, we know business unit leaders, they hold each other as it should be. Why?
Yeah.
Right? I love that. I'm just sitting in the meetings just like, because that's who we're supposed to be, the problem solvers.
Right. I can usually tell the first time we build out a stoplight report and we say to people, hey, we're going to measure this every week. If there's an issue, we'll go to daily process indicators, and we're going to measure these every day. Based on the look in their eye, when I say you're going to report this every week and come with solutions, if it's not right, if we hit red and we're just off track, you need to come with a solution how we're going to solve it. Based on the look in their eye, I can usually tell if they're going to be there next quarter. I mean, you can just see it in their face that, like, I'm not comfortable with that level of accountability. And the part that I'm trying to help them understand is I'm not measuring people. I'm measuring process.
Right.
I'm not measuring whether or not you are capable of doing this work. I'm measuring whether or not this process will even bear fruit. And it's a really hard shift, because every time somebody in their life has tried to hold them accountable, it's been from a place of force and me exerting my will on you. It's not from a place of, I believe in you and I believe in your ability to do this. And so if I believed in you, the kindest thing I could do to you would be to hold you accountable. If I don't believe in you, every time I say to somebody, hey, Tom, you missed another goal, it's okay. It's just a number. We just made it up. No big deal. It's me passively saying to you, I don't believe you can do that. And every time I say to you, hey, Tom, come on. Like, what do we do? We did it earlier. Like, hey, we can get to 6. And if we don't, 2-3 weeks into this thing, we should be able to look and say, okay, what activity are we changing? We may not get to 6. The market might kick us in the head and say, that's not going to happen. But if we're not taking the activities and I don't hold you accountable to those activities, it's me passively saying, yeah, I didn't think you were going to do it anyway, so why would I hold you to it?
But I like to set goals. And set them, you got to set them here, not here. Put the bar high. Maybe you don't make it the first time, but try again. Try again. Eventually you're going to make that if you want it. I always want to get that across to people. Don't give me a number you can hit. No. I don't work that way. But there's always going to be a little give and take with that.
I come from the math side of it, and I'm it's very simple for me, which is there is a cost both in chaos in the business and a financial cost that is associated with hitting targets and goals. Like it's I know we're in Orlando, but not everything happens through magic and fairies. There's stuff that you have to put the math down to it. And as long as I look at an owner and say, hey, look, I love that. I think we should go for it. I was with a guy recently. Man, he wants to do like $100 million. And I told him how much he has to spend every month in marketing, and you have to spend it before the result comes. I mean, in his situation, it literally came down to he was going to have to go take a loan to be able to pay for the marketing to generate the goals that he wanted. And I'm like, I'm fine with the goal, but don't tell me you're unwilling to do the activity. I talk to people all the time, and I'm obviously with the amount of consulting, oh man, I'd love to get in consulting. That'd be so great. That's fine. Are you willing to spend 265 to 270 days a year living out of a suitcase?
No.
Right. And therefore you don't set the goal there because you're not willing to pay the price for the goal. And that's always my push, which is, hey, not only as an owner am I willing to say I want to set a lofty goal, I am also willing to make the investment and pay the price to actually hit that number. And if I'm not, then I'm looking and I'm setting up my team for failure. So
I'm just not willing to live out of a suitcase. I like Florida. Someone wants to bring me to Indiana in like December. That's no. That's when I went there. And I remember coming out of O'Hara Airport. It was 37. It was snowing until it was 30 degrees, we'll say. Not the nicest airport either. Not the nicest part of town. I was like, it's already getting dark. It's like 3:30. I'm like, why am I here? And it was frigid cold. I'm a Florida guy now.
Sure.
And so but the cool thing was, I spent 2 days with Gary. He taught me to do a pro forma. I learned so much in 2 days. Played with Star Wars, watched The Avenger, hung out in the basement.
Yeah.
He said, hey, you want to come back next month? I'm like, no. But I know what I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
I want my vision brought to life.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to travel for it.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a bit of it's a purpose thing. I'm not an influence person. I've got a list of people that I've helped build personal brands for.
Hi, I'm one of them.
Done a bunch of stuff on that side, and I enjoy helping somebody else get the influence. I'm an impact person.
Ooh,
and so there's a much big
impact.
Right. Influence is width, impact is depth.
Okay.
And there's only so many things. There's certain things that cannot be done over Zoom.
True.
I can't do this over Zoom.
No.
I can't feel the energy in a room. I can't tell you if this is right. Mm-hmm. And it's much more purpose for me.
Right.
And it's something my wife and I is a joint purpose that we have to actually come and impact people's lives versus looking at somebody and saying, hey, I'll influence you for a day. That's where I'm at. And it's just a different
Right.
perspective. I mean, when I say it, it's like a lot of times we meet with somebody for the first time and they'll set these insane goals and they'll say, but I want my time back at the same time. And I'm like, great, we have to get other people to do that.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, I don't want to hire anybody. And I'm like, okay, well, you have to choose. You either get your time or you get your money. Like, which one is it? You either get to keep your 75% profit margins because you're not paying yourself, or you get to make 25% profit margins and get somebody else to do it. There's in everything in life, in the design world, there's a rule we use, which is there's the 3 circles, which is, it's either fast, it's either cheap, or it's good. And you always get 2 out of 3. So you either get fast, cheap, or good. You can only have 2. You can't have all 3.
Right.
Never, ever. And that's very much how I look at business, which is like, there's got to be something somewhere where you look and say, I'm willing to sacrifice this because of this. And you see the greatest entrepreneurs in all of history, there are areas in their life where they looked and said, I'm going to have to sacrifice one of these, and therefore this one's going to have to go. For me, my hobbies are hanging out with my kids. My hobbies are whatever my daughter's in. I ended up at a Comic-Con 2 weeks ago.
I was getting my nails done last weekend.
I mean, and that's the trade-off is the guy who doesn't work as much as I work, he goes and golfs on the weekends. He watches college football all day on Saturday.
Not anymore.
And again, I don't judge those things.
No.
Those are their choices and decisions. But that's where I look and say,
I'm the same way.
You get a few. You get personal hobbies, you get family, you get business, and you get 2 out of 3.
So what are my kids into? I'm into.
Yeah.
Like last weekend, it was my daughter's time. Yeah. And we did nails.
Nice.
Nails and some other stuff, right? So that was our day together. Then Sunday was church or whatever else we did. But, I'm in their lives now because they're going to grow up and leave.
Yeah.
And then I can do hobbies then again.
Yeah.
When I was single, I used to live on a golf course. Okay, my backyard was the course. And I always joke with my wife, where are my clubs? It's like, she's like this. They're girls. I don't even know who they are anymore, right? Now, if my son said, hey, I want to play golf. Oh, let's go. Yeah. But he doesn't. Yeah. So it's not like a few years ago, he decided to play football. So I played Division I at Rutgers.
Nice.
Okay, great. He and I told him, this is a good analogy for life. Because when you put that helmet on, you're going to get blindsided. You're going to get knocked down. Life, there it is. And he did it for 2 years. He didn't play this year because he's dual enrollment with college. And we have a deal for buying my truck technically. Buying if he gets all A's still, but college is a lot harder than high school.
Yeah.
And he knows what interest is too now because I said, no, there's an interest payment if you fail. But he wants to make sure he's good here.
Yeah.
And, like you, I'm so family oriented. That's my circle. Yeah. What do you guys want to do? I don't look to my friends because I know what's there. Yeah. Not that I don't have them. I only have these people for a little bit of time, right? Like my son, one day, he'll become my friend. He will. A few years ago, he said, hey, you're my best friend, Pop. I said, not yet. I'm not there yet. In your 20s.
The dynamics still need to be
I still have to discipline
father.
you,
Yeah.
right? But one day, that relationship will be there. My daughter and I, we plan her school. They have daddy-daughter dance. So it used to start in 3rd grade. But then they switched it to 1st grade a few years ago. So I got gifted 2 more years.
Yeah.
We plan it every year, what we're wearing, because this is how she should be treated in life.
Yeah. Yes.
And, I didn't have that father figure growing up. I want to make sure they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially we have 3 daughters, and that's my wife and I talk about all the time, which is you want to make sure if and when that boy shows up, he better have his stuff together, because the bar is high, and that's a constant thought in my head is are we raising the bar as to somebody who would come into this family? Are we raising that bar of what we'd want that person to be? And it's such a challenge.
We need to teach our children what we know. We need to let them understand that there's good, there's bad in the world. It's not all sugar plums and fairies. I do a good job of that, because I grew up in New York City in the 70s and 80s when it was garbage. I was exposed to too much, too fast, too young. And there's ramifications for that.
Sure.
I don't shelter them. I'm not like one of those bubble wrap parents at all.
Yeah.
I let them fall, because from failure comes success. Right? What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
And you can see them just scratching their head because I could fix it for them.
Right.
But what did that solve? Nothing.
Well, you don't realize that that actions have consequences, that actions have results that come out of them. And when we don't, not only it's not a teaching thing, when you don't experience that for yourself, all of a sudden you just end up taking actions and thinking there's never going to be an upside or a downside to them. And therefore you never get to enjoy the upside. You find that kids will accomplish things and never feel the fulfillment for it, because it was never on their own merits.
Right.
Or on the downside of it, if you make that choice and that decision, there will be a downside. My daughter opened up a boutique when she was 17 years old, and I told her
like a year or 2 ago, right?
Yeah. I told her, I was like, you need to go find a financier. I'm not funding this, and if you don't pay the debt, I'm not backing it. You need to pay the debt.
And did she?
So she went and found an investor. She paid him 10% interest, paid it off early, got the store open, and I told her, I said, look, if you're not doing, there's nothing that you're going to do here that I will not be proud of you.
Yeah.
There's nothing this thing could bomb and fail, and I will be just as proud of you as if this thing became the next Pottery Barn. No, there's no fear there. And when we can remove that fear, then you can look and say, look, I mean, I've started businesses that didn't work out. I've had ideas that I tried to run out there, and they didn't work, and they fell flat on their face. And where I sit today is a byproduct of that, is knowing that not everything works out every time, and that's okay.
But that's success. There's many failures on the journey.
That's right.
What was it? Was it Einstein with what was it? Edison with the light bulb, right?
Yeah.
1,001 times?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of chances.
I mean, you could go down the list. I mean, Colonel Sanders was into his 60s by the time he figured it out. Donald Trump has filed for bankruptcy multiple times. Like, you could go down the list on this thing.
Hopefully we don't have America file, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't find people who are highly successful who don't have a list of things behind them. And a lot of it is because entrepreneurship requires risk. And if you're not willing to take the risk, then you're not going to last very long. And risks have things associated with them. I get, again, all the time, people are like, I talk to young people, or like, I'll be at somebody's office and their kids will be there. And they're like, they want to be an entrepreneur when they grow up. And I'm like, be ready to be lonely. Be ready to lose. Be ready to suffer. Also be ready for the most exciting ride of your entire life. So I was in Texas a few months ago, and I was working with this couple, and like the husband worked just tirelessly, 80 hours a week, like
I
just working
identify with
all
that.
the time, and the wife had just kind of come into the business, and it was like she wanted more vacations and she wanted more whatever and more of this, and I said, look, he most definitely should give you more time. I get that. I said, but I think the thing you have to understand about an entrepreneur is it's taken, in my case, 20 years, in your case, however many years, to get this ball rolling. And there's always that fear in the back of your mind that if it ever stopped, I'm not sure I could get it going again. And if you have to understand and give him some grace to understand, if it stops, I'm not sure how we get it going again. Not that I'm not scared, not that I couldn't, and not that I wouldn't enjoy the adventure of just, if you took it all tomorrow, it'd be fun to rebuild it a little bit.
Sometimes that's fun, though.
But at the same time, if I'm not producing, this is not like a 9 to 5
Right.
where at the moment I stop producing is the moment we stop being able to do the things and follow the purpose we want to have.
Right.
And it is a challenge a lot of times in that entrepreneur space to say, like, the ball will keep rolling. Build the confidence in your team to know that the ball can roll without you.
Yes.
And it can move without you.
Mm-hmm.
But getting to that place is definitely an adventure that a lot of, I think, young entrepreneurs,
Even old ones.
they don't get it. It's there will be weeks, you will not get paid. There will be weeks where nobody's going to
How
send
about
you
years?
Yeah, but trying to explain that to somebody who, oh, I watched Shark Tank and now I'm going to go be an entrepreneur. I get it, but
Right.
come sit with me at 2:00 in the morning, pressing T-shirts that you're trying to figure out every single second of it, and you know that you're going to get this out the door, and this month you're not going to see that money.
Right.
And it may be a couple of months until you see that money, and then you might get a call from that company that says, oh, by the way, we just went out of business. You're not getting paid for any of it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than, hey, I just looked at my check and I'm $10 short.
Yeah.
It could all go away tomorrow, and you have control over that, and you have agency, and you can make more because you have that risk. But living with that risk should not be just dismissed as everybody should go do this. It's a weary business. There are many people who would make far more money and live far more fulfilled lives allowing somebody to just write them the check.
Well, that's why we do the predictive index.
That's
we test people. Look, I'm a venturer. So what does that mean? I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I call it the high wire.
My wife's a venturer.
Yeah. I don't have a problem being on that high wire, taking the risk.
100%.
I like to mess things up a little bit and get things moving, and then I don't want to walk away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. And so, but you have to have the profile for it.
Yes.
Like if you're not, you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
If you're not, you have to be like, if you're, you have to be comfortable with risk.
Yeah.
All the time.
I was with a team. We walked in. They said, if you were here last week, we were going to Jimmy John's, and they're like, we're going for steaks this week, though. And that's the perfect description of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Is we might be going for Jimmy John's, and it might be peanut butter and bread for today.
Dude, I love peanut butter.
And I do too. But there'll be those spikes on the other side where the opportunities will exist, and the opportunity is there to grow something and build something of value that belongs to you and is of incredible value. To me, like, that's the most exciting thing about what I get to do is you sit with a company and you see it go from an owner who's frazzled, an owner who's trying to get this thing put together, trying to get to a place where they're successful. And my profile is much more, which is like, let me just come alongside for 8 hours. Let's talk through this. Let me say the things that you can't say to your team. Let me ask the questions, the more obvious question that you've been asking for 6 months, but somebody else saying it's a little bit different, coming from a different perspective, and watch those things evolve. I mean, I have people now where I was in Nashville earlier this week and watching a young lady that they hired as an assistant in the business, and in the last quarterly meeting, we finally announced her as the new COO of the company. And to watch her evolution and watch her grow, and just knowing, like, that's her, that's all her. She has developed herself in such a way, but to know that you've put a business in a position where they can take somebody from there and lead them there is it's very fulfilling and rewarding.
Absolutely.
And it's just one of those things where you get to walk out of there and say, okay, it's about them and it's about their growth. I love that stuff.
But that's the right people in the right seat.
Yeah.
It just is. And when that happens, magic. Yeah. I can say on the journey, you have to love the journey first of all. Because for an entrepreneur, it's like, you're rolling the ball up the hill. There's going to be another hill. Enjoy it. It doesn't just, people think like, at the top it's over. Oh, there's something. Yeah. There's going to be another mountain to climb.
Yeah.
But that's everything with life. I was always somebody who rushed to the end. And now I'm like, I'm good right here. Let me just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because the building part, it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I get guys all the time where it's like, financially, they could have retired 20 years ago. I was with a guy recently. He's probably in his early 70s. And he doesn't look like he's in his early 70s. He looks like he's in his 50s. He's just a very youthful guy. And I know his situation. And we were sitting at dinner, we're talking, and I just looked at him and I'm like, you could retire right now. And he smiled. And I was like, you love the game. He's like, I love the game so much.
Yeah.
And it's when you love the game, it's the whole thing, but it doesn't become work at that point. That doesn't mean it's less stressful. It's far more stressful. But it's when you sit with, you talk to people who are professional athletes at some point, or some guy who played, high-level sports, and it's like, if I gave you a day, what would you do? He'd like, oh man, if I could have one more walk on the field. And the beauty of entrepreneurship is you can play it.
You're not aged
for
out
as long as you want, and you can be as competitive as you want to be, and you can have it all. It's pretty cool.
But that's what it is, because I knew nothing about my verticals or any of the stuff I'm doing just 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And, I told my wife the other day, it's like, man, I don't know how, but I learned it, and now we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really cool, the journey of it.
Yeah.
But if I can do it, so can everybody else.
Yeah.
But you have to be committed. You have to have discipline. That's the hard part for people.
For sure.
Social media makes everything look easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
No.
Those 22 months when you first came in to today, there were some struggles.
Yeah.
But I look at each and every day and I said, I learned, I did differently, I hired better. I kept leveling up. And that's what brought us here.
Yeah.
To where we're pretty much the best at what we do. Okay, fantastic. But doesn't mean I'm going to be complacent with that.
No, and it's the right focus to get a customer to have an incredible experience. Took moving heaven and earth in the past.
Right.
There was amount of work and labor that had to go into that to get them to a place where they were happy at the end.
Yep. And
they liked their new home and they moved in. It was a great experience. A lot of that friction's gone away. Now that means we get to provide even a better experience. And we get to make it even more efficient for them. And we get to make it even better than they would ever even possibly imagine. And I think that's the part a lot of times in business people miss is they get their efficiencies in their systems. You see it all the time in fast food is the perfect example. They have a system in place where they can make money. And then they get to the end, and then all of a sudden, the customer experience just goes off the cliff. Because they don't invest the money in, they don't take all this efficiency and give it back to the customer in some way, shape, or form, even incrementally to what they've gotten efficiency.
Chick-fil-A does.
But that's the point is, you can call out the brands when you know that they did more than they needed to do. They were excessive in that side of it. But the problem is, and everybody loves that, and I get this all the time. Gary and I had a big talk about this a while back. We were going back and forth on this. He's like, somebody said, your brand, you should create a feeling. Like a brand should make you feel a certain way. And I'm like, I agree with this if you've locked in the beginning of the process. But until you deliver a quality product to them, don't worry about their feeling until you're able to deliver them a quality product. If you're Apple, now we can start talking about brand feeling. If you're Chick-fil-A, then I can say, I feel a certain way. But if you can't create a consistent process on the front end, what does it matter how they feel about it? Because that's completely subjective to whatever person or new process that you've done.
Right.
I work with guys who are a lot of real estate guys. The newer, like if you're brand new in this thing, there's no consistency.
Yes.
Every single person's getting a completely different experience. So to say, well, how'd they feel about it? Well, it depends which of your 25 processes you sent them through.
Yep.
If I streamline it and I say, and everybody goes through this, and every step of the customer journey is clearly defined and mapped. In every step of the customer journey, I know what you said, when you said it, how you said it. I know when they got their gift. I know when they got met with this person.
Right.
I know that when they moved into their house the first time, there was a dozen cookies on the counter. I know every step. Now we can say, and this customer should have felt this way about us as a business.
Right.
But I think it's a mistake a lot of people do is they'll take Fortune 500s or major companies and say, well, Coca-Cola doesn't sell pop. They sell enjoyment. But the pop's got to be good.
Yeah. Well, we got to wrap up in a second. It's kind of on topic, but off topic. When you think of Chick-fil-A, what do you think?
Purpose.
See, I think the Lord's chicken.
Yeah. It ties together for me.
Yeah.
I think that they have taken the ability of biblical principles of, the Bible talks about being given to hospitality. The Bible talks about, being friendly. The Bible talks about being kind. And I think they've taken a lot of biblical principles and figured out how to marry those with capitalism and economics. And
say your name and get your order right.
I mean, you use PI. I mean, Chick-fil-A, I talked to one of the owners of a Chick-fil-A. He says, we'll have 100 applicants. We PI test all of them. 90 of them don't have the right profile for the job. We bring in the 10. We sit down with them. We tell them what the core values are of Chick-fil-A. He said that usually gets rid of about 5 of them. And then we sit and talk to them and say, okay, great, who's got the knowledge, skills, and experience for the job? We hire one of them. So you're getting a better experience because they're hiring with a rifle, not a shotgun, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, I go to Taco Bell and they'll say, scan this code and you could start right now today without knowing anything about me or as a person or anything about me. Wow. What would I expect to happen on the delivery of the product?
Wow.
Right?
That just blew me away, like the hiring process. And you are right.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And that is unfortunately the world we live in, right?
But I mean, Charlie Munger says it this way. Charlie Munger says it's impossible to overpay the right person, right? So if a good employee can make the retention go up by 5x, how much are you willing to pay them? You go to, have you ever been to a Buc-ee's, the big truck stop gas station, or the big gas stations?
I have not.
If you go to a Buc-ee's, they have on the pumps, it literally has how much they pay their staff. It's right there. So if you apply for a job, it shows you how much money they're paying for. So what do you get? You get people who feel like they have the capability and the experience to deserve that much salary, right? Why do you get a lower tier employee some places? Because the people themselves don't believe they deserve more than that.
Right.
And when we as a company get people who say, I work hard, I earn my money, I make a fair wage, I make more than I even think I should, and I'm doing the work that deserves the salary I'm getting paid, all of a sudden it happens. Chick-fil-A pays a lot more than others.
Yeah.
Costco pays their employees a lot more than other people pay their employees. Buc-ee's pays a lot more than Shell gas stations.
Yeah.
And when you make those correlations, now all of a sudden we can be more selective. We can be more choosy. And when we get the people, we invest a lot more money in what? Training, knowledge, skills, experience, leveling up. We like seeing those people elevate through the business because we hired such a high quality person down here.
Yes.
That same person will scale up with us.
Yeah, and that's so true in any business. Like, hire the best you can. Hire the best you can. Like, I believe in that more than any time.
And especially, and this is the part, I think it's so important for a business like yours. When you're relatively smaller to other businesses, you're not Lennar with big giant corporates. We get this idea that we don't deserve good employees. And it's such a limiting belief.
No, I don't believe that anymore.
I know. Yeah. But that's my point is, like, I work with people sometimes like, well, I don't know if I could ever get... Look, you know what? These companies get people to relocate to live into workplaces. Why not you? If the person you want isn't in Orlando, Florida, fine. Go find them where you want them and say, you know what? I've got a great career and a great job for you, and you should move to Orlando, Florida and come work with me. If you don't believe in it that much, then why should they?
Right.
You know, if I was going to get hired by Boeing, Boeing's going to call me and say, Brandon, you're going to need to move to Seattle, Washington, or you're going to need to move to Washington, D.C.
Nope.
I wouldn't do it. But if I was wanting to work in those businesses and I valued what they did as a business,
absolutely,
no problem.
Yeah. So the core value, the company culture, that's what drives it.
Yes.
You know, this was a great talk. You have educated us so much. Your company has done so much for mine, and I thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, in Layman Terms. Catch you next time.